Hey, I'm Sean Anderson with Sean Anderson Tech. Today in this episode, we're going to be talking about 3D printing. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Sean Anderson Tech. Today we're going to be talking about my latest project, which is assembling a 3D printer. So recently my wife has been asking me to do a couple of different projects within my house, and I've been doing a little bit of research on figuring out how I want to do some of these different projects. And something that came up quite frequently in my research was 3D printers. And it wasn't necessarily for every single project that I was looking at, but I was kind of blown away by some of the different applications that you can use 3D printing for. And I've always kind of thought of 3D printing as a new technology, something that isn't something that I'm going to be able to use in my own home, because you're going to need to invest thousands of dollars to get in on it and start it. And that's really not the case. Because the prices on 3D printers have gone down over the last couple of years, you can get a reasonable 3D printer for $200, and that makes it really accessible for the average user. And because of this rise in the accessibility of 3D printers, there's been a lot of different people that have taken the technology and started designing parts. And with any good open source technology, there's a lot of really great projects that are out there, whether it's designing an RC helicopter, hinges, tools, parts, D&D figurines. There's a lot of different stuff that people have designed and published for free or for a small price that you can print off at your own house. Now, one of the great applications for 3D printers is rapid prototyping. So you can design something and put it together and make sure it works before you implement it into production. Now, for my own use, I'm going to be printing out things like handles or jigs or tools such as clamps. And more specifically, I'm going to be designing and building a Raspberry Pi cluster case, because the one that I have, it's good, but it doesn't necessarily fit on my desk the way I want it to, and it's not very easy to carry around. And so designing my own Raspberry Pi case is going to make it easier for me to just plug it in and go take it wherever I want to. So what I did was, as I was researching out these different 3D printers, I found one that is going to meet my needs and is going to work great for some of the different projects that I want to work on. And the printer that I grabbed was the Creality Ender 3 V2, and I got it for $250 at Micro Center during Memorial Day weekend, so it was a lot cheaper, and there's always sales going on it. But that's not the only printer that you can choose. You can choose other printers such as the Ender 3 or the Ender 3 Pro, which are very similar in their functionality and capabilities, that you can grab those and do the exact same thing. Now, I grabbed a couple of different modifications for it, including the BL Touch sensor, as well as a couple of different springs to help keep it stabilized a little bit better. So let's go ahead and cue the montage and start putting it together. So since I've assembled the printer, I've used it for roughly 100 hours printing various parts, whether it be modifications for the printer itself or printing out things like these boxes for my wife and for myself to organize different little pieces and parts within our house. I have a lot of stuff in my drawers that I need to go through, such as batteries or USB drives that these are going to be perfect for. Now, currently the 3D printer is just sitting by my desk, and there's a couple of things that I don't love about it so much. Number one, I don't love how loud the fans are. And there's a couple of things that I'm going to be doing to help correct that, including building a cabinet to have it enclosed in an isolated environment that's going to help cut off that noise, making it a lot softer for me in my working environment. Now, when I'm on video calls, I haven't had anyone notice it or be able to tell that it's there, but when I'm sitting in here, I can tell. Now, the other thing that I don't love is getting into it has been a little bit confusing on what to do and where to start, but there's a lot of great documentation out there, so 2 thumbs up to the community for putting that documentation together to help me to understand how to get started. And so in my next video, I'm going to be taking the 3D printer and I'm going to be moving it off of the ground where it's currently sitting and putting it into a 3D printer cabinet that I'm going to be building to help to isolate that noise and to give myself a little bit more working space for some of the different projects that I have moving forward. Again, thank you so much for watching the video. If you like the video, please hit like and subscribe because that goes a long way to helping me to grow this channel even more and to let me know that you guys are liking the content. I saw a huge increase with my last 2 videos with the Raspberry Pis, and so I know that people are a lot more interested in the Raspberry Pi cluster, and so I do want to do more with the Raspberry Pis, including building out that Raspberry Pi cluster a little bit more. I just grabbed a couple more Raspberry Pis to add to the cluster so I can make a full Kubernetes cluster there. And if you have any questions or comments, please drop those in the comments below. I'd love to see some of your impressions of the 3D printer and some of the different questions that you guys have along with that. Again, thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.